and like it's just like in my opinion is one of his best roles. But so he does you find out that Hades is trying to mess with the tournament, trying to kill Hercules, wear him down, all that good stuff. And so you're actually training to become heroes, but you at the end of the game, at the end of the world, you become just junior heroes. But you get to fight pretty cool bosses. You get to fight a whole shitload of Heartless.
And then we
You
fight
fight
Cloud.
you fight Cloud, yeah.
Yet another
Jesus.
one who makes it to my top favorite list.
Cloud was a pretty good fight. You get to fight Cerberus in this one. He's a hard ass motherfucker.
He is, especially because that's why I waited. I did like Olympus Coliseum after Wonderland and Deep Jungle.
Yeah, the chronological order, I believe. The order you're supposed to go in is Alice in Wonderland, Deep Jungle, then Olympus. I actually jumped it at one point.
Because after you're done with Deep Jungle, you get the magic spell to heal yourself.
Kira.
Yeah, and that made things much better, and especially because plus when you beat Deep Jungle, you get yourself a different type of Keyblade related to that world.
You get Keyblade sometimes from, not all the time. Well, actually, from certain events, you'll get a Keyblade, which is based off the world. You get this Jungle Heart Keyblade, I believe it's called.
Yeah, and I found that to be very helpful.
Oh yeah, that was a very good Keyblade. It was like
to use against like Cerberus or whatever, and especially to heal myself. Because you will run out of potions before you know it, especially if it's the tough boss.
Yeah, and he was a troll. I mean, when I first fought him, it didn't seem that hard because I went chronological order. But the second time I went through the game, I actually went out of order, and I just went to like Deep Jungle or Alice in Wonderland, then to Coliseum, and I died consistently. It took me forever for me to actually beat him, and then eventually I decided I'm just gonna go back, do Deep Jungle, then go back in. So I did all that, and that was just he's a hard boss. And if you continue on with the tournaments, you get trophies, you fight more Heartless, you get the chance to fight Sephiroth, you fight the Stone Titan, and you fight the Ice Titan.
The fuck, Sephiroth?
Yeah, it's at the end.
I don't want to fight Sephiroth.
Sephiroth is hard. I've never been able to beat him.
Yeah, that's why I said fuck him.
Exactly. Okay, but after that, what happens?
After Olympus Coliseum?
Yeah.
You go back to Traverse Town, because you can't really go anywhere else, and then, I know you meet up with Sid, and he wants you to, deliver a book to, Merlin or whatever. And then you find, Merlin's house, and, of course, you have, another flashback where you see Kyrie, and eventually, Merlin pops in, and then you find out the book leads you to the Winnie the Pooh world in 100 Acre Woods. Which, that was mostly mini-game thing, because there was no Heartless.
Yeah, you just played mini-games, and you, repaired the book.
Yeah, because you had to go for different worlds to find the missing torn pages.
Yep. And you even discovered an area where you can practice your magic.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Which I think you could actually level it up if you wanted to, I think. But I don't think I think it was just actual practice, like quickening your pace with it, and you actually got your first summon there, didn't you?
Yeah,
Simba.
Wasn't that Simba?
Yeah, you get Simba. And in my opinion, he was one of the best summons in the world. I mean, apart from Mushu, those two were one of my favorites because they were really cool. They were just pretty epic. You get Simba would come. You would it was actually pretty cool, the sequence to summoning them in the first game. You do Sora would go into this swirling place of kind of I don't know, some sort of tornado thing, and he goes summon, and he turns his Keyblade around, he points it out in one direction depending on your summon, and he clicks it, and it brings forth one of your summons. When you brought out Simba, he would come out. He was like invincible to no one could touch him, and he would roar, and it would like be like this like surrounding roar that would destroy Heartless or weaken them to a point where you just have to slash at them and they're instantly
Right.
dead. And it was so amazing. I was just, oh my god! And I used him a lot. I would always use him as much as I can. And which brings me to the point where MP and HP, your hit points were they would increase as you went along in the game, and you use potions to recover yourself.
Right.
And for MP, your magic points, you would use ethers to replenish, and it can grow over time. But you can like do things to make it grow faster, like to give yourself more health and magic. But the
Right.
problem is that MP didn't regenerate in the first game. You had to actually replenish it yourself, which really sucks because you sometimes can't. Sometimes you rely on your magic like to the max. You will always rely on it, and I've done that a lot with certain bosses. I would rely on magic in order to get me through the game, and it sucks when it doesn't regenerate on its own. Which was a good thing they changed in Kingdom Hearts 2. After that, I think you get this time warp gummy, or this warp gummy, and you get to another circle of different worlds, which you encounter. What do you encounter?
I believe next would be Agrabah.
Oh yeah, Agrabah, and you get to meet Aladdin, one of my other favorite
Right.
co-opers.
And of course, at this point for the Disney film, this would be around the time like Aladdin would be getting hit the lamp or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And Jafar is trying to take over.
Right.
He's trying to rape the princess to become sultan, use her as a sex slave. Genie is helping Aladdin get into is trying to show off Aladdin to make him look like a prince.
You know what? Like real fast, you're like right, because going off a little off topic. Watching Aladdin to the one scene where you see like Jasmine kind of chain up wearing that more sexual outfit than her other one.
Exactly.
That's what, through a kid's mind, you might think as a prisoner, but today you're thinking sex slave now.
Exactly. I don't pull this stuff out of my ass. I'm actually saying
yeah, and
the literal
then you
thing.
wonder like, what's Disney really up to?
Exactly. I mean, he technically is supposed to have a wife, so sex slave, you're my wife.
Exactly, and plus Jafar being, evil and all, that's the reasonable thing that's going to happen.
Exactly. I'm not making this stuff up. This is
You're
legit.
right. You're absolutely right. Disney is good for this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And like they do this with another movie. I'm going to go even more off topic, but I'm going to swing around in the end. Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, exactly.
The reason why the bad guy doesn't like Maria is, I think her name's Maria or something like that. Esmeralda. There we go.
Yeah, the gypsy.
The gypsy is because he likes her and he wants to bang her. And so he goes through this entire thing. It's like at the end he gets puts her on a torch. It's like, okay, if you have sex with me and be my wife, I will not kill you. And she's like, bitch, I'm not gonna be your sex slave. And so he tries to burn her. She falls unconscious, and that world in particular comes into play during the most recent game that's gonna come out for Kingdom Hearts, Dream Drop Distance. And I think they even mentioned that at one point. Like, I don't remember how, but I think they like show that scene in one point.
Right.
And so I'm just thinking, holy crap, sexual jokes.
Oh, that movie on its own had a very big like religion thing going around it.
Yeah, it was a big religion thing. He was like, hell's fire, dark fire, something with saints and whatnot. But I forget the rest. But it circles around to it. It's used again. That world's used, which I'm really glad, because that was one of my favorite Disney movies, and
yeah,
it's very fun to see your favorite movies used in this game because they use it pretty well. They don't ruin them. They kind of like amplify the idea of what they did, because you had like Tarzan, you actually got to help him defeat Clayton. You
Right.
helped Alice get off the jury. You help Aladdin defeat Jafar, which leads me into one of my which is your first, in technicality, I don't really think as Clayton your first Disney boss fight, because you're technically fighting a Heartless at the same time.
Right.
But
Where Jafar
he's on his
is,
own. He's like,
yeah.
he actually uses his powers of the evil of being an evil genie and all that. He actually uses those powers and fights you, which is actually pretty amazing.
It
Because
is.
that was amazing. I always consider it as your first real Disney boss fight. Technically, it is Clayton, but he has the aid of a Heartless, which
Right. Where
I don't.
Jafar doesn't.
Yeah, and Jafar is on his own, so
Yeah, and then like when you do defeat Jafar, and then he asks the genie to make himself a powerful genie. I mean, yeah, going by the rule book, you can't kill a genie, but
you
that's
knock
where
him
you
out
focus on attacking Iago. Technically, Iago is still a Disney character, so
and you fight him because he has the lamp. And if you know your Disney knowledge right, you don't need a tutorial for this. You know what you're supposed to do. Because
yeah,
in the first game, they actually really stuck really close together with Disney. They would like, if you know your Disney terminology, you know how this story is going to end, so you know what you're supposed to do.
yeah.
You
So
don't
get
really
that
need
lamp.
like a guide. What'd you say?
So you go and get that lamp.
Yeah. And you beat him up, you collect the lamp, he goes into the lamp, you bury it, you throw it away, and you find the keyhole once again. And I think during that time, you get a cutscene where you kind of see the ultimate Disney villain crew?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and Jafar is one of them, and mostly Disney's most evilest and cruelest villains of them all, which has one of my two favorite villains in it. Um, so you defeat Jafar, you lock it, and you collect Genie as a summon, which is pretty cool. Which again, Sora does his twist, unlock, Genie comes out. He does magic, and blasts the Heartless away for you. And after that, you go to Monstro, correct?
Correct, and this is probably right at this point was the closest at this time it was the closest thing to a Pinocchio world.
Because technically, Pinocchio's world actually was destroyed. It burnt
Right.
out. And for some strange reason, Monstro got out, and he's like still swimming around in space.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so you would Monstro come if you're flying around, and all of a sudden Monstro comes up and he goes and he eats you.
You're swollen, yeah.
And you wake up and you come up inside of Monstro, which at this point of the movie is Geppetto and Pinocchio, Figaro and Chloe in the wrecked ship
I
inside
mean,
Monstro.
like technically, yeah. In the actual movie, this does happen where they do get eaten.
Yeah.
So
Actually, in the movie, Geppetto goes out and he's looking for Pinocchio. He goes out to
Right.
sea, and Monstro comes up and eats him. And then Pinocchio realizes, oh crap, he's in Monstro. So
Right.
you go around. You go out to Monstro and you like try to look for him,